While China actually builds their cities and makes them look like this, provides amazing public transport for its people, California has been trying to build a rail system for 16 years now. Only 57 miles of rail has been built in these 6.
Wow, I hadn't looked that project up in a while. I didn't know that. Only 57 miles of the 776 have been built. All right. A lot of people have sent me this video saying, Lance, you know, it might be a little extreme for the kind of stuff you normally play. You know, there's some things in there you don't normally put onto your stream, such as fat shaming or other stuff like that. But it's got some important information about what's going on in America from you know, international perspective. So figured I'd give it a watch.
National student in my class was telling me about how his evangelical dad in Beijing believes that Trump was chosen by God to win the election, but that this victory is part of a larger divine plan to destroy the United States. I cannot afford eggs, therefore all immigrants must, is a conclusion that some governments and people have reached throughout history, such as Germany in the 30s, America now, and Germany now as well. The reason why I like being Eastern European is because life in Eastern Europe, unironically, not even joking, fucking sucks. It is nearly impossible to live the life that a normal American or a German lives if you are from this cursed place. And on top of this, you are constantly under the threat of war from Russia or with one of your neighbors, minimum. People go to universities for 12 years to be a doctor or a dentist just to make what an American or German cashier makes in a month. And while the cost of living is cheaper, it's not like everything is $1 here and rent is $2. And normal jobs are within the range of $300 to $500 a month here. That much money isn't gonna get you far, even in fucking Dushanbe. So for me, who was raised in this bullshit place, ruined by corrupt banks and politicians, constantly looting money from people, to hear Americans complain that they can't buy eggs from their single family homes with a Ford F-150 parked out front, it was genuinely boiling me. Now, you know how it is. I made it out the hood, paid off my family's predatorish bank loans, and I'm good now. But that's because I was very lucky for the opportunity to do YouTube. The rest of my country, and around 15 or so more, are completely fucked, and most of the population lives with a dream of even making house.
Hey, wait, how many of you who are American have a single detached home with a Ford F-150? Is that like, is that just a meme, or is it just a real thing that, like, hey, by the way, we can't afford eggs, but you know, I do have a series of credit card expenditures and debt, and I've been just one? Oh, okay, sorry, 2 Ford F-150s. You definitely need giant pickup trucks in the suburbs. Yeah, you're going to be needing to haul a lot of stuff
of the amount of money that an American Walmart guy makes. So looking at the majority of Americans voting Trump because, yeah, he's horrible to women and everyone that isn't a billionaire and also white, but he will make eggs cheaper just to have the egg prices rise again is absolute cinema. First of all, I know y'all don't even eat eggs. If Americans actually ate eggs and cared about egg prices, they would not have these obesity rates. You know how hard it is to be fat while eating eggs? Trump came into power and immediately started threatening not Russia, not China, not Iran, but America's very best allies. Talking about taking back the Panama Canal, taking Greenland, and fuck it, Canada too. I will not let Americans take Hoser. Critical support to Fidel Castro's son against the American KKK regime. Not only threats, but actions too. He literally put a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, their neighbors and biggest trading partners. He's literally shooting himself in the foot because he's bored, and plus making everything more expensive for Americans, because after you get the 25% tariff, it doesn't mean everything will just be $125 instead of $100. After things get imported, the resellers and merchandisers have to take their cut on top of that. So more realistically, a 25% tariff means everything Canadian or Mexican that would cost $100 usually now would cost more like $150. Same thing with Taiwan. He wants to put tariffs on their semiconductors, a place that has only existed because of America's support, saying they would defend them from a Chinese invasion. First of all, all. We know how good America's promises are because they promised the same thing to Ukraine if they gave up their nukes. And look at their defense of Ukraine now, where they abandoned my goats to the point where Zelensky himself is saying that they haven't received 9 out of 10 pieces of equipment that was promised to them. Now Taiwan, the place where 90% of the world's chips get made that are the main parts of your car, laptop, fridge, TV, PlayStation, computer, Kindle, dishwasher, fucking literally anything electronic is being sanctioned.
Well, not dildos. Oh wait, no. There's advanced dildos now. They're the ones that you can plug into the internet and then you can use them with other people around the world. Those ones probably do have microprocessors in them. Well, they got everything. I mean, it was only a matter of time, really. All our electronics require Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, advanced features.
And if you're Taiwan, right, why would you not think, hold on, what the fuck am I risking an invasion from China just to sell to these motherfuckers that sanctioned me? As if the chip shortage in the world isn't high enough. Trust me, America did not need this. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot for absolutely no reason. Probably because Trump is bored and also now wants to concentrate a lot of non-Americans into these camps. He wants to make concentration camps. And I'm pretty sure he will too. And guess what? With deporting immigrants,
what percentage of your workers are not U.S. born?
Probably half.
About half?
Yeah.
If there were a mass roundup of undocumented migrants, that you might lose workers, you might not have enough workers.
Well, the question I asked, how are they going to do that? Within 2 days, we will not have food. There
That's bad.
will not be food anywhere.
2 days.
Yes.
so even in the most evil, Lorax, selfish way of thinking of, oh, Trump is evil, but at least he will make the egg prices go down. If the people that harvest these eggs are people that will actually be paid a normal salary instead of immigrants that were being exploited for cheap labor beforehand and being paid like shit, the egg
Wow, I feel like all those memes, those really quick ones of all those people hiding, that is like, you know, advanced Metal Gear Solid tactics. If you've never played the game, like, I think it was all the way back from the first Metal Gear Solid, there's an item called Box where you can hide in a box so people try to walk by you and you don't get detected, but like, that was taking it to a next level.
prices are gonna go up. It doesn't take a fucking genius to understand this, does it? Same thing with home ownership. Ignoring the fact that the housing crisis in the US is caused by motherfuckers just hoarding homes and treating homes like a painting that will
Why are you never allowed to talk? Like in Canada, it's the same thing, but like they always go, like every news report I read, and it is because a lot of our media is consolidated and owned by an American company that tries to push a lot of these, like, you know, agendas on us. But like you never hear about the fact that so much of the housing crisis is caused by people owning multiple homes and hoarding them. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, the problem is investors, Chinese investors specifically, and only that. Okay, so what's the solution? We need to build more homes. Okay, those homes will be available for people, first-time buyers, people who don't own homes, people who need one home. Like if you already have three, is kind of the thing, right? Like at that point, is it kind of like, all right, well, you should probably only be allowed to, you know, have a limited amount of homes if there's a crisis until everyone can have one. And then sure, if you need your fifth home in fucking an island somewhere, I mean, goddamn, how many homes do one person need?
increase in value over time instead of a thing that people need, such as a roof over their heads. What do you think kicking all the construction workers?
You need multiple homes for all of our Ford F-150s? Damn. I would say get less Ford F-150s. I've never understood. That's the same thing. There's suburbs in Canada too, where like people just have an obscene amount of trucks. I'm like, why trucks? I would get if you're in a rural area where you need to load things or tow things, or you need that kind of like, you know, horsepower. But otherwise, why do you need it to be able to drive to and from your job as a carpet salesman? You know, it's like, no, I need the Ford F-150. Well, really? You don't just need car? A car couldn't just work for you just to go from point A to point B? Yeah, but it just won't have the raw power that I need. I mean, I really need to get there.
Who are mostly illegals are gonna do for you. Tuvalishvili was an illegal immigrant and he became
They're called pavement princesses? I have not heard that before.
the UFC world champion. You know how much money he's generated for America? It's gonna increase the housing prices because the developers will only go on a profit of $5 million if they paid people well instead of their 10 million that they're used to. And what can you really do with 5 mils, you know? So they're gonna jack these prices up and go fuck yourself and your ex too, you Yankee fuck. So as the US is just destroying themselves and turning into this fascist, capitalist piece of shit rule over some propaganda that they couldn't afford eggs. I know you motherfuckers could afford eggs. If you can afford an F-150, you can most definitely afford fucking eggs. You guys really have not known what it's like to actually not be able to afford eggs. We have this saying in Georgian, you don't want it, you don't want it, eat a dick. Arginda nuginda, chame. And to collapse your global hegemony over a plot that is straight out of The Boys, tariff your neighbors and threaten to invade your allies using military force is insane. So, arginda nuginda.
It is wild to see, especially just wild to see, and just to have like no one on the right recognize it for what it is. Like just sit there and be like, I don't know if these policies are actually going to benefit anyone. I think if anything, it's going to collapse the American empire. But it could benefit just a really small handful of billionaires. You know, similar how, you know, when the USSR dissolved, and then all of a sudden there was the shock doctrine applied, and it turns out a lot of those regions and a lot of those countries, as their borders got redesigned and they became new nations, it really just served the unbelievably wealthy class who then ran them, you know, kind of like the way a mafia or a gangster would, and that's I guess what the goal is, insofar as I can tell.
He radiates power in this picture, doesn't he? There's no aggression. He's hunched, has a neutral expression, but you can quite literally feel the authority oozing from him. Well, let's see. The Chinese didn't fund militias in my country to terrorize my people and overthrow my first and only good president. Didn't fund a genocide in Palestine. Didn't bomb Iraq for no reason. And the list goes on. And like the stupidest thing is, they are using your American money to do all of this, which is just unfair. Instead of giving you guys healthcare, your money just gets used to people, which is fucked up. You pay taxes in America knowing that shit's going to people. Not only not having healthcare just so many Americans themselves, but these useless military campaigns that never accomplished anything except death and destruction, including American bringing a lot of Americans home in caskets with a couple of gunshots on their funeral as their service. This is fucked up, man. Americans should actually be receiving the benefits of the money they pay to their government, like good public transport, free healthcare, free colleges, job security, and way more. And trust me, if fucking Estonia can afford all of this, then America, the richest country on the planet with its trillion-dollar companies, can definitely afford this.
But there's the answer. It's right there. That's because it's really hard to have a bunch of trillion-dollar companies, especially military-industrial complex ones, making fucking trillions of dollars if you don't have these random-ass forever wars that just go nowhere. Everyone's asking for a link to the video. I shall share. Thanks to the person who emailed it to me. I had 3 different people email me this video being like, Lance, you gotta watch this. Here you go, links to the callouts.
You know, us Georgians, we have always been ahead of the times. We ditched the European Union before Trump sanctioned them, but the very Nazis that are gaining power right now collaborated with China way before it was cool, and it will be cool now that Trump is sanctioning every one of his allies and destroying Turkey. No worries, Greeks and Armenians, we have our best guy on the job. The wildest thing is still absolutely Trump just giving Taiwan to China, because semiconductors are literally the most important thing in the world right now. Way more important than oil, because at least a lot of countries have oil. Taiwan is the only place where these chips get made, and he just threw it all away for like dick shit. Not even dip shit, dick shit. Now mainland China will just get more influence over Taiwan. While China actually builds their cities and makes them look like this, provides amazing public transport for its people with its clean, fast metros, the US refuses to build any shred of infrastructure because, what? California has been trying to build a rail system for 16 years now, and nothing has been done. Not even the initial phase is complete, let alone the other ones. Only 57 miles of rail has been built in these 6.
Wow, I hadn't looked that project up in a while. I didn't know that. Only 57 miles of the 776 have been built. All right.
16 years. Elon Musk has also interfered with this project because he's Satan and because he wanted to make money off it, so he proposed stupid ideas such as the Hyperloop in 2013 as an alternative, and the fucking Tesla tunnels to skew skepticism in the rail project and actually get people to be less hyped about it. Just anything to make people's lives worse and make himself more money. So yes, The Chinese century is here because of the US shooting themselves in the foot, but at least we'll get high quality trains that are on time. So, you know, you weigh this shit up yourself. Also, I haven't been to mainland China, but I have been to Hong Kong. Let me tell you guys, I saw the light. On God, when me and Geopolitical went to get a train, literally like
Oh yeah, I've had this exact same experience. If you go to Hong Kong, the Hong Kong airport can take you from the airport itself to Hong Kong City in 25 minutes on a high-speed rail that is so blazingly fast and comfortable and clean. It's unbelievable. Like, you sit in it and you're like, well, I guess, yeah, we have a little bit of time, you know, got like a 9-hour layover. Why don't I go see Hong Kong City? And then you're on that train and it's like, zoom, and you're like, oh my God. Why don't we do this? Why isn't there high-speed rail everywhere? This is such an efficient way to get lots and lots of people from point A to point B, and fucking as rapid as possible. It's amazing.
70-80% of the time, the train was already there, waiting for us to get in.
It's okay, love. It's okay. I'm here, okay? I'm not going anywhere.
And the other times that I had to wait for the metro, it was only 1 or 2 minutes. And the longest I've ever had to wait was 4 whole minutes for a train. And that was during Chinese New Year. So, you know, I always appreciate when a country does public transport well. Xi Jinping, I know you're watching this. I have a proposal. You know how Russia took away Outer Manchuria during the Chinese Century of Humiliation? Putin is weak now, Xi. And these territories are all historic Chinese land, you know. You have a better claim to it than Russia ever did. You have the biggest military in the world as well. So you know what to do. And seeing the global world power shift as you're growing up is an absolutely crazy thing to see. Because while the US was waging wars in foreign countries and spending trillions on innocent people in tents, China was using money to actually build their own cities instead of destroying other people's cities. A lesson that Russia can learn from. Using their money to innovate and make better technologies and products than the West, beating them at their own game. Because the Western companies were exploiting China for their cheap labor, moving all their companies there and basically laughing at the concept of China becoming a global power. Because they thought, oh, they're dumb. They can't make better cars or products than us. Just an inherently Western supremacist idea to have. A lot of how China reached this level of technological development is because when the Western companies were bringing their products to be manufactured in China for cheap labor, the Chinese people were making these products. So they learned how to make these products. And with a lot of investment and subsidies and cheap loans from the Chinese government, they learned how to make even better products. Which is how just a couple days ago, DeepSeek, a Chinese AI, dropped onto the world like a fucking dick on your face when you're sleeping around the homies.
What?
And wiped $1 trillion from the American stock market. They wiped $1 trillion! Because it was just as good as ChatGPT, if not better in some cases, and it cost them $5.6 million compared to ChatGPT, which was much more expensive, and ChatGPT also loses $700K a day. Along with this, cars. Despite the European Union tariffing Chinese cars, they are still losing their car companies, such as the Volkswagen Group, which is running into huge trouble just operating at the moment, to the point where they've had to close down 3 factories in Germany and lay off thousands of people for this reason. And it's because they can't compete with Chinese cars' batteries, which are made in China and are better and cheaper than European ones. So Volkswagen had to sell their electric vehicles for a higher price, and the people just weren't into that. And along with this, Chinese cars are just very good. They look good, they're high quality, and they're cheap. So when those cars hit the European and American market, probably over. As this Georgian car reviewer said,
Nothing is creaking. It's creaking in the Mercedes and the BMW. Nothing is creaking in the BYD. I don't know what kind of glue they're using. If these cars last for 10 years, 10 years without it dismantling and getting it, then we can get to the funeral bouquets and then send them straight to these Germans, Italians, and Americans.
And on top of this, they've made the most sold electric car brand in the world, outselling Tesla by more than 2 times. For trans and public transport, this isn't even a close call. China is literally just better in every single way, in trams, buses, trains, or whatever you can imagine, than Western countries. And I've been to a lot of countries in Europe. I've tried out all their metros. Let me tell you, bro, it is nothing compared to a single line in the Hong Kong metro. They even have gaming gaming. China has literally overtaken every single industry and outdone the Western companies in their own game. Literally. League of Legends, 40% stake in Epic Games, which makes Fortnite and the Unreal Engine, where basically every game is developed now. Clash of Clans, Genshin Impact, PUBG Mobile, Black Myth Wukong, which broke records for selling 10 million copies in 3 days and also having the most amount of people playing at the same time. Clash Royale, Call of Duty Mobile, and they're probably gonna buy Ubisoft now. I'm calling it this year or next.
Well, see, this one, sorry, Canada, you're losing your biggest gaming company.
This is just genuinely surprising because they have become dominant in every industry ever, even in fucking video games. Also, a couple days back, they made the fucking sun. That's right, they literally made the sun run for 18 minutes. It's basically...
To be fair, update to this story, France has actually apparently done a fusion reactor that beat the Chinese one in terms of the amount of energy they got back for the amount of input they put.
Used to generate clean energy with plasma or some shit. I'm not a scientist, but they made the sun, bro. How is that not mind-blowing? This was a major breakthrough, and they did this and DeepSeek within the same week. What kind of buttons is she pressing? And regardless of what kind of beef you have with China, it is still amazing that this technology is now developed and that this clean energy will help us deal with climate change so California won't burn down in January anymore. And then the landlords increase the rent for no reason. They also do generate the most waste in the world, but they're also the leaders in renewable energy. Very weird dynamic here.
In just a few years, China has built this world-class fusion research campus from scratch, while the US still lacks anything like it.
Let's see. Which industries are left? China is also the world's top country in just general construction, but mainly infrastructure. Nearly every road in Europe, Africa, and Asia is being built by China. While a lot of people have expressed concerns for this because of China's loans, Europe and America do the same exact thing with loans. No country is just going to forget if someone can't pay back a loan, you know? Regarding actual construction though, China has built literally everything in Africa. A bunch of...
Sean Brennan, thank you for the dono. Lance, are you ever going back on Timcast? I thought you were great. I don't think if anyone can reach Moonlord, it's you. I would have totally accepted an invitation prior to the whole, you know, what's going on right now in the US. I'd be a little bit more wary about traveling there, let alone going to the highly armed compound. Although, like I said before, I was treated very well. That's one thing I cannot say, that, you know, that they were like intimidating me or like, you know, just sitting there and being like, think you're gonna make it out alive or anything. No, they were all his employees, his many employees were super, super nice, very courteous, very gracious. I have nothing but good things to say about all the people who work for Tim Pool. But yeah, I have not had another invite. I don't know if that had anything to do with, you know, the fallout from it, but
railways, roads, schools, hospitals, you name it. And China has built it in Africa. Also, 138 projects.
Oh, come on, you don't want to fly in America? I am a little wary, even though I know it's confirmation bias. I know, like, statistically, right, like, you're still safer driving, you're still safer flying in the U.S. than you are driving. It's just like every other day, there's like another story. Another plane crash, another plane crash. Another plane had to be emergency landed in order to avoid another plane crash.
Projects for clean energy such as solar, hydropower, and wind power projects. Also, this map already existed of the main trade partners of countries, but like after Trump's tariffs, it's literally just going to be a red wave. Is this the red wave that was coming that Trump was talking about? Is Trump a Maoist and did we not know? Like that Chinese guy's dad was completely right. Social media, TikTok, like just absolutely being dominant for no reason. It's crazy. Me personally, I'm ready to sign up on Duolingo and start learning Mandarin because it's not really looking too good for the US. You know, I know how hard life is in the United States. Everybody would rather grow up and work and live in Eastern Europe. So I hope the Americans that voted for Trump will be able to afford eggs now at least. Prayer emoji. So with everything being said, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. Thank you so much for watching. My videos have been getting a lot of views and I'm very happy for that. And subscribe too. Subscribe now. I know you like this video. So if you would like to see more, like and subscribe and goodbye.
You know what I think this video would actually be really good for? Conservatives in the US, Republicans. Like, I think it's got just the right amount of memes to be able to pill them, but also make them super, super angry and get them mad about, you know, the real thing that America should be doing, rather than being like, oh, you know, I feel insecure or inadequate. I'm going to go bomb a foreign country. I'm going to go invade a foreign country. I mean, I'm going to go continue these forever wars. What if everyone, especially like, you know, Republicans, were demanding that you compete with China on this level? Like, you know, it's actually kind of abysmal that y'all don't have all the high-speed rails despite having more money. Y'all don't have the electric car industry, you know, despite having Elon Musk and Tesla. That's what you need is you need to start competing directly with China and trying to avoid the age. Because right now, I mean, I think the core point of this being that, like, all of this is being done by the current U.S. administration. Like, it's just like literally shooting yourself in the dick, being like, hey, by the way, what are a bunch of policies that are just really going to rapidly collapse the American empire? Not in the sense that the accelerationists want, by the way. It's going to descend into like what it appears to be right now, into all like complete alt-right authoritarianism. You don't want some weird crypto monarchy, fucking fascistic takeover, and then a complete erosion of all the social safety nets possible, so that the people themselves are the ones who are suffering at the very bottom, because that's going to be, again, hundreds of millions of people who are going to have a really, really bad time. It would be, I think, a lot better to you know, directly compete on this level. But anyways, people asking, it's a channel called Gatsu. Here's the link to the Gatsu if you want to send it to your Republican friends. That was funny.
Don't let this happen to you. Go to serfscoffee.com to order the only end-to-end owned indigenous coffee company that delivers blood-free, conflict-free, and cruelty-free beans right to your door. 0% of people who drink serfscoffee.com have exploded spontaneously. By ordering right now, you get 10% off plus free shipping, and it's the best way to enjoy delicious coffee while not exploding. That's serfscoffee.com, serfscoffee.com.
Hey, if you'd like to unlock secret bonus episodes as well as uncensored content, go to patreon.com/theserfs. This show is produced by Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Political Poppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demel, Travis McClinton, Trincell, Words Greenwood, with additional support coming from all of these amazing human beings right here.